Good evening, sir.
Hi, Majid. Good evening.
How are you?
Yeah, fine.
Glad to hear that.
What?
Glad to hear that, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I had one question. We had an MDR audit today in our company,
Okay.
and the distributor which we had in Spain has registered as an importer in Udamid.
Mm.
So, according to MDR, is it same like distributor and importer? They were saying that the distributor has registered as an importer. So, how can you make a contract as a distributor with them?
No, where from you are importing?
Sorry, India.
No, from which country you are importing?
No, we are not importing. Uh, we are exporting to them,
Acha, acha. Okay,
and
okay.
the distributor has registered in Udamid as an importer.
Okay, okay, I understood. Yeah. So, so I mean, he has to get it registered in Udemy, no?
Uh, as a
He has,
distributor, he has to get registered.
yeah, if he's an importer, he has to get distributed. Even distributor, if he's also distributor, he has to get registered if he's supplying to Europe.
Okay.
Okay, and I think I have shared what are the mandatory documents that a distributor should have or a importer should have. Okay, he should also carry some technical documentation, some document like the marketing material, okay, the IFUs. He should
Okay.
have knowledge on the device. Okay,
Mhm.
he can't be a distributor just because he is doing a business.
Okay.
Okay, you should have something understanding on the knowledge, what could be the potential complaints, when to recall, what are the advance events,
Yeah,
what are the,
we didn't had an agreement about that, so we got an entry in that today.
yeah, you should have an agreement, and it has to be made very clear what are the responsibilities of the importer or the distributor.
Hmm.
Okay, that you need to make it very clear in your I mean, in your as one of the SOP in your MDR, like I think I have shared with you, no? I shared in the group
Uh,
what are the responsibilities of the importer, distributor, notified body.
I'm not sure. I need to check that once again. I am just looking in the WhatsApp chat if I can locate that.
No, if it's not there, let me know. I'll share it.
Okay, sir, sure. I will let you know.
Hello, Anil. Yeah, Manji, check it out and let me know. Otherwise, I'll share it. Okay.
Yes, sir. I will take a look into that and text
Because
you.
yeah, I have responsibilities. I mean, the SOPs or the responsibilities of all the economic operators in EU. Okay.
Mhm.
Of course, manufacturer is important, PRRC. Okay. Then the authorized representative. Then you have the importer. Then you have the distributor. See, importer as such has a minimal role where, I mean, he has once we send the devices into Europe, he'll look at the transactional details, mainly in the warehouse where you, I mean, whether you ship it or you send through air. Okay, he will do all the documentation for release in the Europe.
Okay. So we
Okay, but
actually didn't have an agreement with him regarding his
yeah,
responsibility.
we should have agreement with everybody. I mean, that's we should have agreement, and you should also have like uh, I mean, as an SOP in your MDR. Okay, what is the agreement you have? What are the responsibilities? Okay,
Okay, that should be an SOP for that.
yeah, you need to have SOP for that because I mean, see, importer and if there is any discrepancy in importing your material into Europe, okay, the
Hmm.
importer has to take the responsibility. If suppose there is some mismatch of the material which you have sent, he has to trace the documents, whether your purchase order or import orders, all that has to match. Okay, otherwise, I mean, he won't get clearance from the airport or from the shipyards.
Okay, I understood your point.
Okay, and perhaps more than the importer, distributor is very important because he is the one who will be in constant touch or in live with the hospitals.
True.
Okay, so I mean, he has to give us a lot of customer feedback. Like one is on customer feedbacks. Second is on any complaints or adverse events that are happening. He has to immediately report to all the other economic operators, including authorized representative, I mean, European authorized representative, EUAR, manufacturer and PRRC also.
Understood, sir. Yeah, our documentation is not that strong. These people don't take that very seriously. But now after the NCs, they are running like anything.
Yeah, you let me know the NCs, I will handle it.
Okay, sure. Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we'll wait for another 3-4 minutes till others join. Uh, I mean, today in the new, I mean, I'll discuss or declare it later while others join because Pranita already has joined as a new participant in our sessions. I think some of them may not join today because there is a match between India and South Africa in Ahmedabad. Because last match in Lucknow, that was so stupid and idiotic here, was cancelled because of air pollution and the two fog. Okay, we call them smog. Smoke and fog combined together, it's called smog. The smog engulfed whole of the stadium. You can't see anything. I mean, if they play also, there'll be some problem. Like you can't see the ball. So in Lucknow, that was cancelled. Because whole of that Gangetic plain, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Delhi, parts of Bihar have this problem of this smog. And Delhi has banned all 10 years old vehicles, all four-wheelers which are 10 years old. Yeah, Majid, can you text in the group to join others soon because yeah, Akang should join.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Akanksha, I mean, after the session, I'll share your documents which I have reviewed
Yes, sir, no problem.
because I have done it while I'm traveling. I mean, because there is one stop, I didn't get direct flight from Raipur. So I need to stop in Bangalore. That time I have reviewed your document.
Okay, sir.
So I noted your points, and that's why I gave some comments like it is looking good. Sample size is good, but we need to give some justification. As I told you earlier, see, statistics and all this sample size, all this stuff is more of giving justifications. As such, there is no standard like you have to pick up 10 samples, 20 or 100 or 120. Okay, end of the day, if you take 6 or 10 or 12, you need to say that give justification, these are my confidence intervals or power of study or probability. Okay, that will come in clause 8 point, I mean ISO 1348. Also it's there in CLSI. It's also there in FDA guidance document. But I said now, Akanksha, it's very difficult to understand statistics. Okay,
Yes, sir.
you will get, I mean, after listening, if somebody teaches you statistics like with total clarity, you feel like that you understood everything in that 1 hour, or the moment you keep hearing the lectures. But the next day you'll forget it. Okay, why you forget it is because it's such a complex and some of them are very subjective. It's not that everything is gold standard, that you need to follow this standard for the sample size or for the statistics. You need to take a decision of your own self, like what I should do with this. Okay, nothing is structured or framed that, okay, this, except for AQL, even AQL also, that is acceptable quality level. There is one table called AQL that's basically used in medical devices for finished testing finished devices, or some devices like online or raw material QC. But that also you can, I mean, uh, have your own subjective way of looking at it. Okay, and as I said, I mean, that's the problem with data analysis. So I will take a class, like I said, on data analysis that is combined with AML, maybe 2-3 sessions. If it needs, I'll take 4 sessions on that. Because I know, like, for this generation of people, this is very important. Okay, and if you, I mean, don't learn it, I think you'll face a lot of problem competing with the next generation that is behind you. And I mean, they are well armed and they are ready. Skilled manpower is coming out. So you need to be careful. Those who have already passed, you need to learn a lot of things. Okay, anyway, I'll touch on those subjects. Actually, I said in the last class, like I'm planning to have, I mean, a separate edition or separate classes, master classes of linking, I mean, like AML linked with quality and regulatory. That's basically on 10 topics only, but each topic for 3 hours on Wednesday. Maybe in the new year, I'll start it on Wednesday, 3 hours. 10 topics which will be linked to both quality and regulatory. That will be very interesting, like how you can link the AML, okay, and fast track the work and get a very prominent, accurate results. Of course, I mean, end of the day, human intelligence matters. Maybe I'll discuss that with you when I talk during the capstone project. Okay, I mean, yeah, Arulmati also joined. Who has to join? Anjali
Yes, sir.
said, yeah. Arulmati, you can call me after the class.
Sure, sir.
Um, I think you have some doubts on.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we'll go ahead. Let's others join while we are discussing on this. So, I mean, we have a new participant, Pranita Reddy. She is a B.Pharm graduate. Pranita, you want to introduce yourself or should I talk? Yeah, Pranita, introduce yourself. No, you are not audible. Actually, one more, Mayuri has to join. Pranita, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
No, I'm talking about Pranati. Yeah, she has done her B.Pharm in Hyderabad. And she is doing her PG in quality. I'll tell you. Yeah, Pranita, can you hear me? Praniti? Or at least you chat something.
So she has dropped some message in chats.
Okay, it isn't working. So, okay, I'll introduce her. She's a B.Pharm and she's, I mean, the thing is like, she's doing her PG in medical, I mean, in quality and regulatory in medical devices in AMTZ Vizag. Okay. They started some course like this. I mean, it's like, I know about that course. It's some 6 months or 8 months course like. Oh, I mean, it's like more like going to a college. It's not like a 1 hour, 2 hours discussions. So 8 months. It's not that you can work and also learn. It's totally learning. I mean, you can't really work and earn money. So, I mean, guys, coming to the point, I mean, we are very, I mean, we are at a very important juncture, okay, where we discussed like we are planning to have tomorrow ISO 13485 internal auditor exam. Is it okay for you?
Sorry, sir, can you repeat that?
What?
My speaker was not working. I didn't hear you.
My speaker is not working.
No, my speaker is not working. I didn't got what you said exactly.
Right, fine. I mean, I'm just trying to understand, or otherwise you can, I mean, text in the chat. I'm trying to understand whether you guys are ready for the exam tomorrow, I mean, evening. I said no, 30 MCQs, half an hour. or you would like to attempt this exam on this Sunday evening? So Sunday you can revise it. Why I'm saying this is like, please try to understand. We discussed this for, I said, like more than 30-40 hours, almost 9 sessions. Okay, and I want you to, I mean, revise everything, grind it, digest it, understand it, what are the important points. And I also told you, I mean, it's worth spending time on ISO 13485 because that's going to be the pillar of any, I mean, medical device organization, whether you are in QARA or in any other department of maintenance or even purchasing or in marketing. So I want you not just listen, but also do some self-learning or just have an overview of the documents which I have shared. And I also shared something like a pocket book. Okay, where quickly in 1-2 pages you can know what are the clause, what are the main contents. Okay, you can also understand some important NCs what I have shared with you. Okay, it won't be a very difficult exam. Okay, and the important thing is you need to just review some of the points which I have shared with you. Okay, and it will be more logical than most like using your memory. Okay, there will be some case studies or case scenarios where you need to attempt. Is it okay for you? Or should I schedule on Sunday
Yes, sir.
evening?
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
Okay, but before that, I'll, I mean, for half an hour or 1 hour, I'll give, I mean, I'll tell you something like how to attempt that exam or what are the different practical issues you'll face while writing the exam. Okay, just a few things. Okay, it will be MCQs and importantly, it will be recorded and you need to switch on your cameras because this recording is important when we see your question paper is important, the recording is important, and the classes which I have taken, all the 10 session recordings are important. Okay, the exam paper, because this I need to preserve it for next 5 years. Because you are going to be internal auditor for next 5 years till your renewal. So I need to preserve all this. I mean, while you are writing the exam, that has to be recorded. Your question papers, marks, okay, and also the sessions which we had since November 7th. Okay, almost like 10-11 sessions we had. Of course, we discussed a lot of other things more than what is required, but it is important. I said no. It's worth discussing or spending time on 13485. And we also understood what are the updates that are going to come in next 1 year. Okay, like the US QMS or QSR is going to combine with 13485. And you'll be mostly having a global QMS. Okay, one QMS for every country instead of just having that bits and pieces. After the internal auditor exam, I'll talk about MDSAP. So that gives you a good clarity like how different countries QMS can be merged together to make it as a single file or single quality management system. Okay, without any gaps. It's almost like we'll be covering 10 to 12 countries and make one, including ISO 13485. Okay, then we'll make it as a one QMS system that will cater to all 10 countries and any country. I mean, once you get the certification of this, okay, in a single audit, it won't be like 10 countries will do 10 audits because the whole of the year you will be in audits only. Okay, you won't be manufacturing anything or product. There won't be any production. So, like it will be a single audit, then you'll have the, your organization has the facility registrations. Okay, then once you get the marketing approval, okay, for that country, you can sell your devices in that countries. Okay, that will be very jam-packed. I really like the MDSAP model, like wherein one audit you get facility registrations in almost 7-8 countries. Now Singapore, now Switzerland also joined. Okay, all 7-8 countries, including, I think you know what are the countries that are there in MDSAP. Can somebody tell me what are the countries that are there in MDSAP? MDSAP is Medical Device Single Audit Program. See, the sentence itself says is a single audit program wherein you can get your certification with one audit, but the audit will be for 5 days. Not like ASO audit where it will be for a day or two. Okay, it will be, you'll like the audits. It should be the way. But can you tell me what are the countries that are there in MDSAP? Majid?
Yes, sir. I guess PGA, Australia, Brazil, Canada, um, Japan, and the US. Even Malaysia, I guess, and Singapore have been, proposed to join the MDSAP. I wasn't aware
They
of.
are as observers. Malaysia is going to join, South Korea, Singapore, and recently Switzerland also joined.
Okay, as an observer.
As an observer, but also as a participant in MDSAP.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll learn that stuff after trying to understand. See, it's like getting facility registration of your organization in US is a big thing. Canada, Australia, Japan, Brazil, these are all big markets. Okay, apart from these 5 what I told, now you have South Korea, Singapore, Switzerland. As Masjid rightly said, Malaysia also will be joining. But don't ask me when India is going to join. I'm decided. Okay, because in India everything is unpredictable, like the great Donald Trump. We don't know what he speaks and what he talks. Arulmati understands it better. She is staying in Canada. She knows it. Okay, anyway, yeah, just to conclude, not conclude, just to have a throwback or go back, like last 2-3 sessions we discussed on clause 8. I am urging you, requesting you, and if there are any synonyms, let me know. I'll use them. Okay, please review clause 8 more critically than any other clause. Whether you are interested in quality, regulatory, or any other department, everyone should be very, very knowledgeable on clause 8. And I told you n number of reasons why you should be good in clause 8. Of course, clause 7 is the real thing, real criteria, like you have design and development in clause 7. Okay, and the product realization. Okay, how the production has to be conducted. These once you do the design and development, how you do the transfers, how the production has to be done, environment, infrastructure. Then you have the most important purchasing. So all important activities that are there in ISO 1348 are in clause 7. Okay, design and development, purchasing, production, infrastructure, personal, okay, manpower, all that are there in clause 7. But why I'm stressing you to understand more on clause 8 is because this is the clause which really speaks what clause 7 is doing. Okay, if clause 7 is doing perfectly, then you may not worry much about clause 8. And why I'm saying again and repeatedly the same thing is, in any system, you go to any system in QMS, okay, where the actual picture comes. Okay, I said like I compare 1348 with a movie. Okay, 13485 clause 7 is the real story. Okay, you will have a lot of drama, a lot of thrillers, or a lot of action. All that will be there in design, production, purchasing, infrastructure, maintenance. Okay, contamination controls, clean rooms. All that action will happen. Okay, whether it could be a drama or action or a thriller during audits, that will happen in clause 7. So when there is a lot of activities that are happening in clause 7, clause 8 becomes important because you need to have monitoring and measuring system. Okay. Hi, Madhusri.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you should have an what we call, as I said, in clause 7, you have so many activities happening. Like, think of a movie where you have 21 arts that are happening, but there should be some monitoring and measurement system or process that should look at whether everything is happening properly or not. Okay. And that is what we discussed on clause 8, having customer feedbacks, having internal audits, handling complaints, addressing to regulatory bodies, internal audits. Okay, what to do with non-conformity products. Okay, non-conformity during the process, non-conformity, products, non-conformities in the products, in the process. Okay, if there are any non-conformities that have gone outside the organization or the manufacturing facility into the clinical system, how you will handle it. Okay, these are very, very important in clause 8. We also discussed like what is rework, whether it is allowed, what is repairing. And the worst thing, I still wonder, like, of course, I have some, I can give bit of justification on acceptance under concession. Okay, how many of you know acceptance under concession? Can you tell me the logic? Though the device is not within specification, we accept the device, okay, which is basically a rejected one. We accept the device, okay, under concession and still use the device and make it enter into the market. What is the logic in that? Because it's not meeting specifications, but still how you make an rejected piece under concession. I know like rework is different. When you do a rework on a rejected piece, you see that it comes under specifications. Okay, when you rework, you see that it comes under the technical specifications or the acceptance criteria, what is required for you. In repair also, we do the same thing. Okay, and if both are not working, generally we dispose it. And the third thing is, the fourth thing is acceptance under concession. Can somebody give me some logic behind how can we accept a rejected piece under concession? Who is going to give us the concession or who is going to give the approval for that?
We accept it if not a direct impact on safety and intended use.
Yeah, Akanksha, right. I know all NIPER students are great. because I taught in Python. Because I mean the component or the part, okay, which has been rejected is not involved or is not reciprocating, or it is not affecting the safety and efficacy of the medical device. Okay, you can name a lot of components or parts that are attached to the main device. Okay, they act as accessories only, but these accessory functions will not affect the safety or performance of the device and will not cause any risk. But Akanksha, you need to demonstrate that and need to document that why you are accepting it as, accepting it under concession. It's not orally I say, okay, this is an accessory, doesn't have any effect on the safety performance. Okay, just push it into the market. That is not allowed. Okay, then we need to go back to clause 4, everything on documentation. Okay, clause 4.2.4 or clause 4.2.5. You need to do the documentation for anything under concession or under rework or under repair. Okay, even if you are segregating or dumping it as a disposal, you need to document and you need to mention what are the numbers you are doing this. Even in rework also, I told that it should not add any additional risk and it should not affect the safety and performance. That's the bottom line. See guys, I'm telling you only one thing. You do whatever you want, okay, in your production manufacturing unit or in your R&D. End of the day, it should not affect the safety and performance of the product, first thing. And second thing, it should not add additional risk. Okay, some people try to enhance the performance. When you do, I mean, I know it pretty well. Like when you try to enhance the activity or performance of the efficacy of the product, you need to be very careful. I know it pretty well. Many a times, it also carries additional risks. So you need to strike a balance, okay, where you can have acceptable risk and very high performance or height of the performance is the max. This is the threshold of performance. Okay, that's great. But keep the risk as low as possible. There are two, as low as possible or as reasonably low as possible. Okay, 14971 risk management says one thing, EMDR says one thing. So that controversy will discuss when I talk about risk management 14971, which is a very interesting subject, and actually I love that subject, risk management. Okay, so after that, what we discussed, like there are a lot of things which we'll get as inputs. Okay, why I'm talking this is we need to connect this to our internal audits. What are the inputs we'll get and why we need to collect? Why we need to collect all these inputs? Okay, whether you take complaints or adverse events, field safety corrective actions, customer feedbacks, okay, your trend analysis, internal audits, okay, management review meetings, your external audits, okay, your production QC, your production QC, online QC, finished product QC, all these are inputs. Even from maintenance, we'll get some data, purchasing will get some data, what are the accepted or rejected material. Why we need to take all these inputs? This comes as inputs, okay, in clause 8. Okay, it could be 8 and subclause like 8.2, 8.3, 8.4. Why we need to collect this data is this data gives us the inputs and provides us an idea or the trend idea or in the trend, like how the process I mean, how the process is going on, how the manufacturing process is going on, what are the outputs that you are getting from the product in terms of their rejection or acceptance, or if you take the trends, okay, what we call process trends, any valid, I mean, I told you like process trends, like whether it is deviating too much from the mean or the average, or is it in tune with the mean? Okay. And I told you, if it is fluctuating above the mean, suppose you see your mean is 5 and it is fluctuating to 6, 7, or in down 3, 4, you can easily predict your rejection will be high. And when the rejections are very high, there is high probability that you will have a lot of complaints. And I told you this very categorically, what we call, we can predict. I mean, I can clear, if you give your company data of last 2-3 years on some parameters which I ask, I can predict you which complaints you will have, which batches it will have, and when you are going to have the complaints. Okay, it's like, again, I am telling you, we collect all this data, and I told you the other day, it is very stupid to have the data, okay, and sit on it. Okay, sit on it idle, doing nothing. So you need to analyze the data. Okay, there are different ways to analyze the data. Like simple way I told, trend analysis or the patterns of last 2 years production batches or QC batches or finished product QC batches, raw material, whatever data you take, your internal audit reports, you will find a trend. Okay. Trend, basically what we call the trend, okay, it's basically, it will be in a bell shape. It's called as normal frequency curve. Okay, I'll show that curve where you will have I mean the deviations that are happening. I mean, this is very scientifically proved. It's not that I have got some data and I have drawn the bell-shaped curve. Okay, it is scientifically proved that 33% of your data, okay, will be at the verge or at the margins of being rejected. In the sense, it will be very close to being rejected, but still you accept it. Because it is within the specifications. I too agree, it will be within the specification, but at the margins of the specifications are at the, okay, worst case of the tolerances. Suppose I say 5 is the mean and 7 plus or minus 2 is the standard deviation. Okay, it will be somewhere around 5 plus 2, it could be 7, it could be somewhere around 6.9 or 6.6. Okay, it will be very close towards the outer side or the inner side of the tolerance, and there is every chance that these pieces may get rejected. But luckily, okay, it may be a very good day, or I don't know which day is good for you. It could be a Thursday or some Friday based on which God you believe. But they will be accepted, which are under tolerances. I mean, at the verge of tolerances are extremes of the deviations, not falling in the mean. So this will have high probability of failure. Okay, because if you have high risk cases and your device is almost on the threshold to failure, but still it is accepted because you have specification. When used on an human, or when used in a patient who is already at a high risk, and this risk of the device and the patient risk, and in the hands of an ordinary doctor or somebody who is not an expert or an house surgeon, it will definitely fail. These three will amplify. Okay, it will escalate and the device will fail. Why I'm saying this is, again, coming to the point why it is important in internal audits. Like you have to gather the data, you need to analyze the data, and end of the day, what you will do with the after analyzing the data? Can somebody use their gray matter and tell me you have the data and you are smart enough, good, okay, you have great logic, and you guys are in Xenex. I think most of you are not Xenex. Okay, Zenz are very fast. But you are in Xenex. Of course, you are also very fast, smart guys. What you will do with the data? Can somebody tell what you will do with the data? What is the last clause in 8? See, the last clause in 8, what we'll do with the data is like we'll get a lot of patterns of the data. We understand the data very much. Like, I mean, it could be any department. You tell me what the department, I'll tell you the patterns, how it looks. Okay, based on that patterns of the data, we can discuss or we can decide on what is the current status of the QMS or the organization. Current status, I'm saying, or that present 1 year status or 6 month status, we can really tell how the QMS is working. See, I'm taking all the inputs, including the internal audits. I'm taking, I mean, all inputs, wherever it is available. I'm not leaving anything, even from the maintenance, even HR, even personal training records also I'm taking. Okay, including KPS, key performance indicator. So we will have an understanding on how the QMS, how the system is working presently. Okay, if there is something that's not really in compliance or very far away from compliance, okay, or it's just a total outlier from a compliance, or it is very near to compliance, you can judge, like you can do a grading like, okay, at what grade we are and at what level we are, okay, in maintaining our QMS. There could be some positives, there could be some negatives, or a lot of positives, only some negatives. Okay, then this data, what I'm trying to make you understand, at the end of the day, after talking about all the clause, okay, the last clause on 8.2.5 is that it comes under clause 8 only, but the last subclause talks about improvements. Using that particular data, all the inputs, what you have got, how you are going to improve your organization. No, the story looks very logical. Okay, the structure it framed was very logical, rational. Looking into all the clause, from clause 4 more on documentation, clause 5 on mainly on management responsibilities. Okay, clause 6 mainly on the resources, could be infrastructure or personal. Clause 7, the real drama and the story. Clause 8, what could be the climax? Okay, what could be the outcome? Like in a movie, you'll have the last half an hour closing scenes. Okay, it looks like that. And the important thing is that you, as an expert in ISO 13485, having learned 13485, you should able to look at the data and, I mean, at least talk to yourself or talk to your group or your friends that these are some of the improvements which can be made. Okay, it may have a, I mean, the improvement could be 5%, 10% better, fine. Okay, but don't let that what is there currently still go down. Okay, you're standing at some stable okay, stable factor or stable area. Okay, it's good. One important thing is don't let your QMS system still, okay, troll back. And the best thing you can do is you can make your system improved, or a lot of improvements can be done based on the data, the patterns you have looked in, okay, the data analysis, and you can make the system move forward. I'll tell you example during internal auditing. Okay, how you can make the system move forward. You tell me any department, okay, how we can make a particular system move ahead. Tell me what is the data you are giving, or we'll make it as a practical approach, like, okay, give me the data, or it could be any data. I'm not asking you the data of your company, which could be very confidential. I don't want data. You can get a lot of data from Kaggle, or you can search in Google, you'll get a lot of data. Tons and tons of data are there. Okay, there are data centers all over the world. Okay, and people are planning to have data centers on the moon and in this space also. Okay, and those who know it, I think you know the logic why people are having data centers on moon and sky. Okay, that's not our subject. Yeah, we'll work on the improvements. And in the improvements process, what we will do, there are two important things while in the process of improvement. One is we'll do a corrective action. Okay, the other is a preventive action. We call it as QARA. That also we discussed. Okay, corrective action is something which immediately we address so that the non-compliance or the non-conformity, okay, stops itself there itself. It's more of a reactive approach. Like for the complaints, we do a corrective action. Okay. And when we do a corrective action, it's quite important. You need to understand why that problem happened, why there is non-compliance. I'm telling you guys, if you can understand the reason for the non-compliance of a particular event, you are at the highest of understanding, or at the highest, or at the peak of understanding 13485. Because I know, like, when there is a non-compliance, we do a root cause analysis. So if you can understand and do a root cause analysis and address the complaint or the CAPA and see that this non-compliance is not going to reoccur in the future, okay, you are doing a tremendous work. Of course, it needs a lot of understanding on the product. Okay, you need a product knowledge. Okay, you need a lot of rational and logic to understand it, and the way how to do COPA. Of course, we have a separate section on the COPA, COPA and root cause analysis, and also on the data analysis. After we discuss some of the important things, I'll tell you how to do a COPA. Sorry, how to do root cause analysis and link it to COPA. Okay. So what we are doing here is, like, we are doing a corrective action. Corrective action, I said, basically is an reactive approach. After something happens, okay, then we react. Like what happened in Delhi blast in Red Fort, or what happened in Bondi Beach in Australia, or what happened, India response after everything happens. We are always reactive. Okay. But we need to move into more proactive approach. Okay, like what Israel or the Mossad does, that they have a very proactive approach. Before the incident happens, they will eliminate it. Okay, eliminate with the root cause. and then won't let the event happen. I mean, that's what we call predictive analysis. We predict that this is going to happen, and we are in a position to eliminate it through a preventive action. So most of the customer feedbacks are talking about preventive action, because the customer feedbacks gives you that these are some of the problems with your product. If you neglect them, if you don't address them, they are going to cause adverse events. So your customer feedbacks has to be taken seriously. Okay, and you need to address them so that they won't turn into a potential adverse event or a complaint or some serious adverse event or any event they won't turn. Okay, that is preventive action which we take it proactively. And it is a very potential harm which we are stopping the reoccurrence. Either you are going back to the design and development stage and stopping it if it linked to the design, or if it is linked to the processes, or if it is linked to your QC system, or it's linked to your validations. It could be anything, like, the root cause could be anything. Your calibrations may go wrong, your purchase or your raw material, there could be some issues. Your personal training personnel are not right, or they are casual, or there could be some issue with your infrastructure, machinery. There will be any number of root causes which you need to find out. Then help in improving your organization. That's what we call it as continual development of the organization. The organization should not be at a stagnant stage. If it is a stagnant stage, okay, there is chance that it may collapse further. Okay, to roll back further. So as you as quality guys or regulatory professional has to hold or push the organization more forward. Okay, and importantly, I'm saying, like, you need to take it with your understanding on 13485, where what are the areas you need to improve based on your non-compliances, okay, on your data analysis. And this is what exactly we will be doing in the internal audits. So what we will be doing in internal audits, because I said internal audit is one of the very key input for the improvement or for data analysis. Of course, I said there are a lot of things like customer feedbacks, all that we get from marketing guys. Complaints, by default it happen and we'll get the report. Management reviews will be happening. Okay, there will be rejections and the QC reports, all that stuff, process reports will be getting internally. But one thing which we need to do as a team in the organization is to conduct internal audit of our own organization, which is very, very difficult. See, you can audit other organizations, but when you do audit of your own organizations, there will be some issues which I'll discuss more on your mindset and being biased. Okay, and issues of some personal attritions, those who are other departments or those who are could be seniors to you. Okay, all that we will discuss today and also tomorrow for half an hour or 1 hour. Yeah. So I'll go through this. And Madhusri, Pranita, can you write exam tomorrow? Madhusri, can you write exam tomorrow for internal auditor certification?
Not actually,
Yes.
sir.
What?
Not actually, sir. I need some time actually.
Or would you like to write on Sunday?
Sorry, sir.
On Sunday. So that
Yes, sir.
So even for me, Sunday would be better.
so I'll take it on that. I mean, I'll take consensus. Like we are a democratic country, don't fight. I'll take a consensus on that, like how it happens in Parliament. I'll finalize by before I close this session. Okay, and I also request Pranita. It's not Pranita. Prerna. Sorry, Pranita. They have problem remembering names. That's why I call everybody by name to remember. Okay, guys, we are entering into the real crux of the certification program, which is very, very important for you. Okay, if you become an internal auditor and a very good internal auditor, that helps your organization improve more leaps and bounds. Okay, and you are a part of it in helping the organization. It will be a great feeling. Okay. Of course, you may get some promotion or you may get some bonus XYZ, your salary structure may change. But more than that, you'll have that internal satisfaction that you have helped the company close a lot of non-compliances, okay, which are a big issue. Could be a major non-compliances or even minor. 2-3 minor will become major. Okay. But the point is you have not left the non-compliance as such in a status quo. Status quo is something like they are kept, I mean, idle there, nobody is addressing them. And there is no movement or action on it. So you have to take the action. Okay, I'll tell you how to become a leader in internal audit or leading the internal auditor group. Okay, there are 2-3 important things. I mean, not going through the document, I tell you. One is you should have 13485 knowledge, understanding on that. Okay. And the second important thing is you should be always in a mood of, okay, understanding that you are not auditing your organization. You are auditing a third organization, or say you are doing a supplier audit or you are doing some other organization's audit. Once you feel that you are auditing your own organization, there will be a lot of biasness that will happen. Okay, then you will see like, okay, my company works like this only, the system is like this. And you casually, okay, you casually don't look at a lot of NCs or non-compliances that are happening. Okay, and the third thing is, most importantly, your personal attributes, like how you take an internal audit. How seriously you are taking your internal audit. I know there will be a lot of internal politics, like some seniors of you may say like, why you gave me NC? I mean, the biggest problem for any QA guy or QA head, I mean, I was a QA head for so long time, I do understand, is like we can't question the seniors, or sometimes they feel guilty like you are giving me NC. And on the contrary, we poke the juniors more and give a lot of NCs. Okay, if they don't have NCs also, I mean, if they're doing okay, better, still we give NCs, but seniors, we try to understand them. And so these are some of these things which generally are there in many companies. This will creep under the carpet. Okay, but we need to have a very structured, before we take up the internal audit, we should have a structured program, like how I'm going to conduct with your team. Okay, I'll tell you all this stuff, but most important thing I said is you need to have an understanding on 13485. Okay. In-depth understanding on 13485. And mainly I'm talking of what are the clause and what are the clause saying. I mean, it's not like you need to read total 80 pages or 90 pages of 13485 or some elaborated. But what is the main intent of that clause? Of course, you can remember it very easily. Okay. If you take from scope, you know pretty well what the scope should be. Okay. If the scope is wrong, can you identify it? You know the difference between exclusion and not applicable. Okay. How the scope should be written. Or outsourced works or outsourced operations are also considered in your scope. Okay, and what is the basis of the QMS? Is it risk-based? Okay, customer requirements, process linkage, okay, and compliance with the regulatory requirements. These four are very, very important. Are you getting my point? What is the first thing? What is the first thing very important in mainly 2016? First important thing is it's a risk-based strategy. You need to look at risks in every clause, everywhere that is it affecting the product. Any clause, any department, first look at the risk. Okay. Then second important is look at the process mapping, which process is connected to the other. Okay, when you have the process mapping, it is a process link. Okay, it runs in loop. It's loops and sometimes it intersects or dissects into other departments. Okay, which we'll discuss in internal audit. But you need to link these processes, including the risk with other departments, because the risk carries through, it gets diffused into other departments also. So you need to connect these risks. Hence, this is very important on the process linkage. That is very, very important. Okay. And what is the third one? What is the third one, guys? I told you when I discussed about ISO 9001 and ISO 13485, what is the basic difference?
Risk based IS 913485 is risk based.
That I already told you. Risk based and process linkage, these are two. I'm asking about the third one. See, 9001 always talks about customer satisfaction. Okay, satisfaction of the customer. But basically, 13485 talks of
Patient safety.
patient safety and the customer requirements. It's not about the customer satisfaction. See, for us, who is the customer? For us, who is the customer? Is the distributor, is the doctor, or lab technician, or the patient? And somebody say,
Patient.
yeah, patient is our customer. We need to look into the safety of the if you are not doing, if you are not performing great things with the patient, but don't do any harm to him. Okay, that's why in a lot of regulatory files which we write, okay, what we do is the risk benefit analysis or benefit risk analysis. Say we are not doing many benefits also, but don't do too much risk to the patient. Okay. Okay, your performance is at X. Don't try to increase your performance with X plus 3 and also parallelly carry your risk forward, so that, I mean, there will be too much of amplification of these risks that further will lead to the patient discomfort, or catastrophic, or it could be mortality. Okay. So first thing what we need to address in our internal audit, sorry, I'm deviating from that. So the third thing I said is the customer requirements. What are the customer requirements? Okay, when I said customer requirements, what is the intended use of the device? Are you getting my point? What is the intended? This I told you, in design development, there will be design inputs. Okay, for what we are designing the device? For treating a particular, I mean, the definition is very big on medical device, but for treating a particular ailment or particular disease, or for diagnosis, like where Akanksha works, or for doing surgeries, or like medical equipment, like where Magustri works on surgical robotics, or and some of them work like Malzid, or the other guys work on the quality or the regulatory work. But I'm saying that the customer requirements are on safety and performance. Okay, and what is the fifth one? If somebody says, what is the fifth important thing in QMS, I'll send a gift to you on New Year. Actually, I want to sell gifts to all of you on New Year. But I thought my blessings are enough. Tell me, what is the fifth one? What we need to in QMS, what is the fifth important thing? See, I told you risk, process linkage, customer requirement, okay, and connecting the links of process linkage. What is the fifth one? Suppose you are having, suppose you are
Management
manufacturing,
commitment, sir?
what?
Management commitment.
No. Management is important, but there are more important things than management. Of course, management has to give salaries. That's a different thing. But I am telling, suppose you are manufacturing a device in India. Okay. So for which regulations you need to comply? Which regulations you need to comply if you are manufacturing a device in India?
IMD.
Yeah, why you are taking so much time? Is this like a lot of lag between my voice and your voice? As if I'm speaking to somebody in US. Yeah, I told guys, regulatory compliance is very, very important. ISO 13485 talks a lot and gives very much importance on regulatory compliance. You need to abide with IMDR compliance, Indian Medical Device Regulations 2017. Amended, some amendments were added, it became 2021. In future also there will be some more amendments that will be added. Okay. So regulatory, suppose we want to sell in India, we have marketing. In India we are manufacturing, we want to sell it in Europe. And Europe made it, EUMDR, Europe made it pretty clear that their EUMDR is integrated with ISO 13485. Okay, in EUMDR you see a section. Lot of sections are integrated With 13485, you can't divide regulatory and quality aside, I told you on day one. Okay, suppose I want to manufacture, export to Saudi or Middle East, or I need to follow the country regulations. I want to do it for US or 510K or PMA. I need to follow their regulations. So regulatory compliance is one of the, of course, we say it at the last, but that is one of the very, very important one. Okay, on this 4-5 basis is the QMS foundation, or the foundation, or these 4-5 pillars that are built the QMS. See, in MCQs, this question may be asked. Okay, it could be all of the above, or there may be A and B matching, or they could be C, but you need to understand the essence of this, on what are these 4 important things the QMS was built. And I also want you to understand something on what is the difference between 9001 and 13485. Okay, I shared a document. I told you to do some self-learning, self-homework. Okay, it's not just listening to me for 2 hours. I'll tell you a lot of things. I have experience, which could be useful, but your understanding and self-learning is also important. Okay, and what we are looking is the internal auditor competency matrix. What competency the internal auditor should have, okay, before you go out for the audits. Okay, because maybe in a 2 days time, you will be writing the exams in next 1 week, or in 3-4 days, I'll giving you internal audit as an competent certified internal audit paper or certification. You will be an official internal auditor. So what is that you need to have to become, what is the matrix, and what is that you need to carry with you as an internal auditor? Okay. And we'll also discuss on, I will not discuss, I will touch something on few differences or few points being a lead auditor. Lead auditor is something much above high. Okay, and I said the other day, I want most of you to enter into the lead auditors program also. Okay, because that will be terrific. Like you will be commanding a large group of auditors. If you become a lead auditor, it will be like most like organizing a big business, like. Okay, so that also I'll be touching, but not so much. So the 8 primary domains where you should have competency: knowledge on 13485 2016, including the amendments that happened recently. I told you 2016 A plus A. Okay, what is ENISO? You should know. Okay, I told you what are the updates. You should know all the clause. What is the, see, one is knowing the clause by name, subclause by name. The second important thing is, what is the intent of the clause? Of course, the intent, if you look at any intent of the clause, though you navigate through, so many other processes, at the end, the intent of the clause is on the safety and performance of the device only. Okay, some I said may have direct impact, some may have indirect impact. Okay, some may not have any impact, but may carry additional risk, like say, sometimes 1 plus 1 become 2, it's an additional impact. Okay, and I also told 1 plus 1 may become 3 or 4. Okay, that is a synergic impact. Okay, additional is just like what you add, one risk plus other risk, it will become 2. It's okay. But when one risk and the other risk add up and it becomes synergetic, okay, you are taking the risk to a very high level because of very 2 minor NCs. That level is escalating to a major one, okay, to 3 or level 4, or sometimes level 5 also. Okay, that is what we call escalation of the risk or escalation of the NC. It is escalating so much. I'll quote you a lot of examples how 1 plus 1 can become 3 or 4 or 5 or more than 2. Okay, and also quote some examples where 1 plus 1 is just an addition like 2. Okay, I can also quote in some of the design and development. Okay, 1 plus 1 can be 0. Okay, that is what we call antagonistic effect. Okay, I'll quote example. When I am in the chief scientist, I understood like if you want to eliminate one risk, you have to introduce another risk so that both risks will come together and nullify, it becomes 0. Okay, sometimes we do intentionally, and sometimes because of the intrinsic property of the material or the intrinsic property of the device, okay, that risk becomes 0. Okay, what is the residual risk that becomes 0? Because it's an antagonistic effect. 1, I said additional effect, 1 plus 1, 2. The worst thing is the synergic effect. 1 plus 1 becomes 3, 4 and escalating. I know, like, see, these are the one where you need to focus. Wherever there is 1 plus 1 that is escalating to a higher matrix of risk, that becomes a very major NC. And in lead auditors, we call it as critical NC. Okay, I'll tell you all this stuff. As an internal auditor, you can give only 2 NCs, 1 opportunity for improvement or just an observation. But if it demands, if the system is so worse, okay, you can go, I mean, it's so worst in the sense, I'm not talking about the personal, the atmosphere there. I'm talking about if the system is so worse that it is continuously producing non-conformities that are affecting patients to higher severity index. And if you think so, in the class, whatever you have, I mean, you have learned with an objective evidence, you have found that this could escalate into a very catastrophic or mortality or even severe morbidity that could lead to another surgery, then you can make it into a critical NC from major to critical and can ask them to withdraw or recall all their devices. But you need to find them with objective evidence. Okay, that I will tell you. But why I'm saying that you should have such an, I mean, confidence. See, confidence is very, very important when you are going for internal auditing. Okay, it should not be a skepticism. You should not have doubts in your mind whether this could be an NC or not an NC, or this could be major or minor. You should be with total clarity and with total confidence, no ambiguity. Okay, how can you get this? Once you have a lot of knowledge on, I mean, understand 13485 and you find objective evidence that, okay, this is wrong. Okay, then you keep looking, connecting at the other risk where, like I said, no, it's all a process connected, interactive process. This is linked to any other thing. Okay, and you should be like not, I mean, behave like some serious CBI interrogation, but very casually you need to, I mean, understand the things like how this can navigate further and how it can. produce and explain to them that this is not your problem and my problem. This is the company problem, the device problem, and the patient problem. Okay. We both are not fighting for this. We are working for the patient safety. It's not an internal issue between you and me when I give you an NC. Okay, you have to make this clear, and I know like there are different ways of working with people who are, some people in a lot of departments will be very adamant. Okay, mainly I see in R&D, very adamant, they think that they know everything and we are nothing. Because I worked in R&D, during that time I used to think that QA guy doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything about the product. But later, after a few years, I became QA. Okay, and people saw me like that. But luckily, I mean, I passed through all phases from chief scientist, from regulatory, then to QA. I worked with marketing, so I didn't have much issues. I know how to handle, how to work smart with this kind of admin guys. It's not the question of buttering them. It's the question of making them understand that these are medical devices and these are not something that's sold in Amazon or other things. Okay. And this is very important. Knowledge on ISO. What is this? 19011. Can somebody tell me what is this document? I shared this document with you. I think I also told to you. But you don't need so much of knowledge on this. It's only like it talks about how you need to conduct the audit. Okay, guidelines for conducting the audit, like how you need to prepare for the audit. Okay, it doesn't talk anything on the technical points or technical issues or grading of NCs, nothing as such. But it tells you how you need to prepare. Okay, first is initial audit, how you are going to prepare for the audit, what are the initial discussions you should have with the team. Okay, how you are going to proceed, what are the timelines, where you need to investigate or do audit more, because you already will have 2-3 last few years audit reports you will get before starting the audit. External audit reports or internal audit. Based on the reports, you will have an idea where to, dive deep or look more into the audit. There's say a lot of NCs that are repeatedly happening in a particular area. Okay, basically I see this in clean rooms or in I find more problem auditing clean rooms. Okay, then you need to spend more time there. Okay, or any other areas, like mainly in the validations, if you find that there is a lot of discrepancy in the data. And you need to be very clear. I know like you guys are very smart because you also have done some of these manipulations or things. Because most of the companies fill their records data just 1 week, 10 days before the audit, external audit or internal audit. So you need to be able to understand that and make them, don't look them as some criminals or thieves or somebody who have manipulated. Okay. But you need to bring into the system that once you do the production, the QC has to be completed the same day. Okay. And the QA has to sign off that the QC is completed. It's not like you keep all the records lagging for 3 months and after 3-4 months you keep filling them. No, that gives a lot of discrepancy and mix up of the data. Okay. Your records will become absolutely big nuisance. Okay. So as I said, 19011 is the auditing of management system. It's not necessarily for 13485. It is also for 9001 and other management systems. Okay, how you are going to audit it. So it gives the guidance. I'm going to speak a little bit on 19011 11. Remember that it is an auditing guidance for auditing of management system. See, QMS is also a management system, but we are talking more on quality and other things, regulatory risk, process line. Okay. And you tell me, this is one important standard for internal auditing, mainly for conducting of the internal audit. This is also important document for a lead auditor also. Okay. And what is the other clause which talks about internal audit? If nobody answers this, I'm going to close it today. Which is the clause which talks about internal audits in ISO 13485? I'm giving a clue. It is in the last clause.
Clause 8.
8.2.3 or 4, sir.
Yeah, you tell me 2 or 3 or 4. Tell me correctly so that others also.
8.3, I guess.
See, whatever questions I am asking, I am indirectly telling to you. If you are smart enough, understand these questions will come in your exam.
8.2.4.
Okay. And what is 8.2.4 in 13485? And what is this? This is another document. I mean, another standard, sorry. Okay, guidance document for auditing management system, not quality management system. It's only for management system. You can, with this, you can audit anything. You can audit a 5-star hotel. You can audit a cement factory. You can audit a, I mean, Pani Puri Bandi and all this. Okay, how he's preparing, whether he has documentation or is doing based on his instinct. Okay, and because I mean, like I see of late small hotels being ISO 9001 certified. I was shocked. I asked one of the hotel like, how you got certified? It's like we maintain documentation. We have specifications for doing this idli or puri or chana masala, all that. They have a receipt. I mean, they have the ingredients and they have all the bill of materials. See, exactly like what we do in our medical devices, they have this documentation, who is doing it, they need to sign it, and everything. I mean, it's very systematic. Basically, I see this in a lot of 5-star hotels, but even small hotels or small cement factories do a lot of documentation have QMS. So this is not exclusively for us, but we need to take some guidance from this. Okay, understanding of QMS process and medical device regulations. Again, this I am talking about the country-specific medical device regulations. You may have, I mean, it's not mandatory you should have in-depth understanding on IMDR or UMDR. At least you should know what are the articles, what are the clause, I mean, what are the annexures. Okay. I could say a very superficial understanding, but there will be few where you need in-depth understanding, mainly on the clause 8, which is connected to PMS. Okay. I think Madhusri understand this better. PMS is such a critical area. Wherever you take, I mean, whatever device you take, okay, it is closely linked to clause 8. Okay. And of course, there are some other regulatory documents which are linked with 13485, mainly in the UMDR documents. Okay, but you should have an understanding. Like before we started the class, Majid and myself were discussing on the roles and responsibilities of the economic operators. Like what is the responsibility of the importer? Okay, distributor, authorized representative. Okay, and PRRC. Every company should have PRRC, personal responsible for regulatory compliance. So these are all integrated with the 13485. Udament is integrated with 13485. Adverse event reporting is linked with 13485. So a lot of things. So that knowledge you should have. Even IMDR, you should have knowledge on IMDR. I told you long back, starting session. I'm okay with IMDR, but not an expert on IMDR. I'm very sorry to say that, but I don't know. Like, I need to find the reason with the root cause why I didn't critically appraise IMDR. But I'm okay with all other content regulation. I'm very good at other content regulation. No, it's a very insult to me that I don't know about my country regulation. Okay, then the other is on. Okay, here I'm talking about the QMS processes that are linked with medical device regulations. Okay, third point. And audit planning competency. How you actually, this is not very important for internal audit, but still you should have. I'll show one chart like how you will plan it. Okay, audit planning competency in the sense, I don't know how many of you have faced audits, or you've been an auditee, or you could have conducted audits. Okay, auditee is the guy or the person or the personnel who face the audits. Okay, they are called auditee. Auditor is the guy who takes up the audit. So I know like most of you would have been there as auditees, but I'm not sure how many of you are auditors or audited anything. Because the audit planning, as I just now said, like in a year, how many times should I have internal audits? Can somebody tell in a year how many times you should have internal audit? Is there any gold standard rule that I should have this many times?
For in our industry, there is a 2 times audit, internal audit.
Vaibhav, speak louder.
And 2 times.
You had your lunch?
Hello.
Yes, speak louder.
In our industry, there is a 2 times internal audit conducted.
I can't hear. I am shouting here like whole Hyderabad is listening.
I am saying that in our industry, there is a 2 times internal audit conducted.
I really didn't understand anything, but let's. I think you got my point.
I said 2 times in a year.
No. You can't have fixed. There is, I mean, any of the standard or even ISO 8.2.5 doesn't talk of any intervals for the audits. Your internal audits are based on your own review of what's happening with your processes, your QMS, your devices. Okay, you can have it twice, twice a month. Say if you are a startup, you can have a lot of internal audits to rectify a lot of, lot of things. See, you need to have, one common statement which I can tell is, you need to have internal audits as frequently as possible till your QMS is stabilized. Okay, when I say stabilized, it means a lot. Okay, because I say that your documentation has to be streamlined. Okay, there should not be NCs or your change controls, all these records has to be stabilized. Your retention, your SOPs, retention of records, your SOPs, all that things has to be stabilized. Okay, the management has to take the responsibility. I'm coming to clause 5, the management responsibilities, management review meetings. You need to hire the personals. They appoint the MR, give him his responsibility. So it may take some time, okay, for the startups. But the point here, what I want to make you understand is, even in established organizations, okay, most of those things are not streamlined. You'll find like a lot of gaps in companies like which are 10 years old also. If you can do an audit, why this happens is because they take the QMS quite easily, casually, because they have been, I mean, they are having that ISO 13485 certification for last 5 years or 10 years. They think that their system is perfect, working well, and some they take it very casually. Okay, not worrying about that because they think that I am experienced, I have worked with the system, I know everything. But that is absolutely wrong. You need to update everything every day. What is happening? See, getting a QMS certification is not a big issue. It's just like 1 day or 3 days show. I know it. I'm speaking. I mean, it may. For some of you, it may taste bitter, but always truth is. I mean, it tastes bitter. But it's not like getting a certification, but continuously how day in, day out, how you are maintaining your management system, okay, is the crux. I mean, go into lot of practical things which I have faced or experienced when I am working or when I am the auditor, when I am the lead auditor, when I am the internal auditor, or when I am an employee of the company. Okay, how small things can become big and erupt, okay, into such dangerous things, whether it could be in infrastructure, the planning of infrastructure, poor maintenance, okay, and to some of them can translate into the product issues. So you need to be very, very careful day in, day out, okay. See, what to make this very clear, the system here, I heard it from a lot of big people, big auditors. In a QMS, the system should work. How many of you have heard this? In a quality management system, the system should work, not the person. Of course, there are some areas where the personal intelligence matters, or human intelligence matters, or the skill matters. But most of the part of the QMS, the system should automatically work. Okay, it's not the personal. Like if you look at NIA or National Investigation Agency, or the big, those who have a lot of discipline and command in Army, Navy, or Air Force, there the system itself works. Okay, there will be only one person who commands everything, but everything follows. For example, say I'm absent today. Okay, somebody who is coming in my place should be able to handle that. Of course, he should be obviously trained, and he should be keep working with the flow of the system, looking into the SOPs, understanding the system. Okay, are the standard test procedure, operating procedures, quality system procedures. Okay, if I'm asked to do a QC test or start doing QC tests, okay, I should be able to do by looking at the STPs or SOPs after a short duration of training. So I totally agree that in a quality management system, the system has to work more than the personal or the people. When the system works, in my sense, I'm absolutely right here. I won't say wrong, and I don't want anybody to correct my sentence. I'm 100% confident in saying when the system works, it is real quality management system. Okay, it's not people shouting or doing too much hangama. Okay, for what is not important, what is leaving, what is important, and what is not important. And there will you'll find people like this. But as I said, no, I'll share one paper on publication on that which I have done about the QMS, how the system works. Of course, I said when the system works, you need to have people around, but the system has to overtake. Okay, this I have been telling to a lot of other people also. When I talk of AML, a lot of people, argue with me or okay, they say that AML makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah, I agree, AML makes mistakes. But I'm looking at the accuracy of AML. If it is giving me 70-80% accuracy, it's fine. And doing, say, the work which I have to do for 2-3 months, it is giving me in 2 days. But end of the day, whatever AML gives or whatever data or whatever information AML gives, okay, it is a human intelligence which will take a call whether to proceed with it or not. It's not that whatever AML gives, we don't take it right, but how you write it. Even if you ask any AML itself, any chatbots or anything, it clearly mentions that I may do errors, I may make mistakes. So when we are looking technically, okay, we are not doing some nano banana or some articulating some pictures. We are using AML for medical devices which take care of patients. Okay, not creating images or animations or text to speech or that to this. So we are using AML for fast tracking the work and helping us in giving better efficiency, productivity, and high levels of accuracy and precision. But end of the day, the human intelligence or humans has to take the call. Okay. And this is, I'm talking about audit planning, like which, as I said, like where the most common trends of NC are coming, which you need to audit more, which clause you need to stress. Okay. Are there interlinked? So I'll tell you on planning because I have SOP on how to plan the internal audit. Okay. And once you plan it, how you are going to execute it. This is quite important because where from you start the audit? Can somebody tell me where from you start the audit? From management you'll start, or from stores you'll start, or from finished product stores you'll start, or you'll start from design and development, or you'll go class wise, or you'll go department wise, or you'll go responsibility wise. Okay. Okay, this is one of
Design and
the.
development.
Pardon?
Is that development starts from design and development?
Yeah, if the company has design and development, most of the companies don't have. But that's where I agree with Madhu. Generally, first is the design and development. If the company has R&D, there are different ways people do. Like, see, one, if you have lead auditor doing audits, like the external auditors. The gold standard is first they'll meet with the management before the opening meeting. Okay. Opening meeting is like the management won't come, MR will come, but before that they will meet the management to understand what is the scope. It could be a chit chat. but they'll understand what is the scope, what are you doing, which countries. It will be very like a coffee biscuit conversation. Okay, but see, though it is a coffee, they will also make lot of notes on what is the commitment, the way the management is speaking. They'll understand it very categorically how management commitment is important and how much committed they are. Okay, because management representative is just a toy. Okay, it's like a carrot. Okay, I should not call all of them carrots or toys. There are some good MR, but mostly they'll be, I mean, biased towards the management. Mostly, I don't know, like, I'm not MR anytime. That is only the post which I didn't carry. Okay. Yeah, as Madhu said, you can start from R&D because you will get the understanding on what the products are, how they are designing. Okay. And basically, as I said, these auditors will also, they come planned. The auditors won't come enter, I mean, with parachutes on your organizations. Okay. From the plane, they won't jump into your organization. They come planned, reviewing your, because before the audit, they will, like you also need to do, before your internal audit, you need to get some your old records, old, I mean, internal audit records or some of the old supplier records or some of them where the NCs are. Okay, then you will get an idea where, which is the one first to handle. Okay. But as I said, see, you can't audit everything in 2 days. So internal auditor, as an internal auditor, the word is it's more an randomized auditing. Okay, you can't, I mean, check all 200 SOPs, QSPs, all products, all departments. But you should be very, very, very intelligent to understand where could be the, okay, mouse form. Where could be the rat hiding? Okay, you need to go in depth. What I mean to say is that it's all your logic, your understanding, like what are the chances that this clause or this department you may find more NCs. Okay, by superficially understanding the department. Okay, if you enter into any department, if you see 2-3 documents, or if you see their background of the NCs, you will get a clear idea where their weakness is. Okay, and some very intelligently, they try to hide it. Okay, I'll also tell how, I mean, like, how to behave with the auditor, but that is not our job and not the, doesn't come under our session, but how to behave with the auditor is also a very important thing. Okay, how an auditee should behave with the auditor. That's also important, but a lot of people try to hide under thing. But again, I'm retreating on the same thing. You should be clever, intelligent enough. That's why you are an internal auditor. Of course, you may know about a lot of things about your organization, what the other department is telling, but still you need to handle it so pragmatically, very carefully, and very diplomatically, not with arguments, that this things goes wrong. If you are not able to, I mean, close these gaps or non-compliance, it may, okay, escalate and perhaps amplify, and that I'll talk with in what are the personal attributes you should have. And some, I mean, some auditors are very, very smart, intelligent. They know how to change the language. Change the language in the sense, I mean, change the tone. Okay, not, I mean, language and not English, Tamil, or Malayalam, like that. How to change the tone based on the audits. Again, you should know how to identify NCs and grade them. This I'm going to tell. Of course, I told you a bit of this, but since it's an internal audit, we may not. You can view escalation and grading, but basically we'll stick to three only. One is observation, also called opportunity for improvement. Okay, I'll tell you when this is very important. We should have a rational and logic when you are going to give it as an observation or opportunity for improvement. And when you are going to give it as a minor NC, okay, and when you are going to give a major NC, and the third most first escalated is when you are making it a very critical major NC. Okay, you should have a logic, you should not need to understand. Of course, some time back I said if there is the same NC repeated. Okay, of course, the NC came in the last audit, they have closed it, verification is done, but the NC again repeated, that you can give it as escalated and give it as a major. And two minor NCs in the same process, okay, will become a major one. Like that, I'll tell you some of the examples. I'll tell you the rationale, how you can give NCs. Okay, because this is very important. And most importantly, when you are giving NCs, you should have an objective evidence, okay, or any form. It could be a document, it could be an image, it could be a photo which you take, or it could be an verbal interaction. Okay, that even that verbal interaction has to be documented. Okay, if there is already document available, you can quote. So when you are doing the audit, you should look at what are the evidences you are finding, because with evidence only we can say that this is having answer. Without evidence, we can't show. Okay, I said it could be an verbal communication also. You need to document. Okay, NC identification and grading competency. Grading competency basically is in MDSAP. This also I'll tell you. And I told, like, there will be some clause or some processes which will have direct impact on the risk, and there will be some clause which will have indirect impact. So which has indirect impact, you can give minor. Which have direct impact, you can directly give as major NC. Okay, we'll look into what are those which have indirect, direct. Okay, suppose there could be some as observations, like some spelling mistakes or overwriting, dates not matching, it will become a major minor. Because you need to look at the traceability also. Okay. Suppose if you pick up, I basically used to do this first when I'm an auditor, lead or intern. I used to go to the finished store. After meeting the R&D department, I used to go to the finished store and pick up one device. Okay, I look at the label and I ask them based on the batch numbers, okay, lot number and all that traceability. Okay, what we call reverse engineering till the raw materials. Okay, if they can, I'm telling you guys, if they are able to trace, okay, 2, 3, they will have more than one device. Any company will manufacture 3, 4 different devices. So randomly you can pick up 2 devices, which, see, you may ask which device should I pick up? You should pick up a device which is giving them more profits, which has more market. One, or the device you can pick up which is having more complaints. Okay, there are different ways how you pick up in a randomized way which sample to pick up or which device to pick up. Okay, then if they can trace back, okay, from say finished, then what is their packing, their labeling, have they done the validations for packing and labeling, transportation, sterilization, okay, come back to the finished QC. If all the records can trace back to production, generally they have a BMR, batch manufacturing records, wherein everything has to be systematically traceable. Okay, identifiable and traceable. And then we'll move further back into raw material. Raw material testing has been done. Okay, what is the reports, QC reports of the raw material? If they have outsourced, who is the supplier? I mean, if you can establish this link from the final product to the raw material, okay, or vice versa from raw material to the final product. And in some situations, you need to trace it to the hospital if it is an implant. Okay. And if you further ask like EUMDR or US, I think I told you, you need to trace the patient also. And trace the patient, have a follow-up of the patient for almost 3 years, like how he is doing. These are life-saving implants, critical implants, like I told you, heart valves or aortic stents, coronary stents. Okay. Of late, we are getting like yesterday or the other day, I saw like we are getting implantable kidneys. Okay. Of course, there are some AIML controlled pancreas. The pancreas are the islets of pancreas. I mean, sorry, islet of Langerhans, which secrete insulin. These are controlled through AML based on the glucose levels that are there in the blood. The insulin will be released. Okay, so you need to look at all this identification. Okay, till the patient based on the risk. Again, I'm talking to you based on the risk. It's not that I'll identify a cotton swab or sterile cotton to which hospital it went, to which patient it has been swabbed. That is a stupid work and it looks very idiotic. But those which have high risk like this, okay, you have LVADs like left ventricle assisting device, which are most like artificial heart. Okay. I mean, I worked on LVAD, like designing in R&D of LVAD, how can design an artificial heart, but it works for only 6 months. And this are all artificial, which are basically implants. So you need to have a long traceability that you need to look in, okay, my traceability is limited up to finished product, or should I take traceability up to marketing, okay, or up to the hospital, up to the patient, okay. And I mean, again, I'm coming back to the, every regulation has their own way. MDR definitely asks to have monitoring of the patient if it is implantable for earlier they used to ask for 3 years. With EMDR, they have come to 5 years. And I forgot to tell you, like I shared one document. I don't know how many of you read this, and I also promised that I'll share a summary of it. Actually, EMDR is relaxing a lot of regulations European Union is relaxing a lot of regulations on EUMDR 2017. Okay. They're decreasing the fee structure and they're increasing. I mean, I'll share the summary. I know 3-4 points where they are. And again, I'm telling you, it's only a proposal. It's not yet finalized. So the proposal document is out. And India is also relaxing some of the things. Okay, IMDR is also relaxing some of the things for having more exports. Okay, to facilitate more exports, mainly on testing and other things. And maybe not tomorrow, maybe on Sunday, I'll share you what are the proposed changes that are happening in IMDR. I'll just write 1-page summary of it. And also in IMDR so that you'll have idea like this could be the changes. But again, I'm saying it's proposed changes. And if they are proposed changes, it is published in the European journal, which means that they may become real amendments or changes that may really happen. These proposals may really happen. Okay. And after completing your grading, how you will write the report? This is simple, but I'll just share with you one format. Okay. Like I shared with you the other day, like you found an NC, what is the objective evidence? under which clause it comes. Okay. Then you need to write the corrective action, preventive action, verification, and you need to give the timelines. If it is any linkage with other risks or other NCs, you need to, compound it, circle it out. Okay, there is a format, Pakka format. It's officially available. It's not that I designed. It's there since last 10 years, like how to audit, but I have just made some modifications to look it authentic and not aesthetic, not colorful, but more content. Okay. So report writing this and the behavior and ethical attitude, this is the one which makes me little awkward. Like it's very difficult to have these attributes when you are working in the same organization auditing. But I'll tell you, when a very ideal, smart, noble, okay, and very diplomatic way, even in your company, even with your close friend in other department, how you can write an NC and make it a major NC. Okay, I know you guys are very smart, but it's again, we are talking about the device organization QMS, not about Majid and Vidyasagar or Vimati or Madhusri. Okay, we are not talking about individuals. We are talking about the system. We are talking about devices. We are talking about the customer or the patient. Okay, and that is why the opening meeting is very, very important. So in the opening meeting, we'll tell all this stuff. Okay, how we are going to do the audit, how it will start, how many hours we will audit it. Okay, and you ought to also look at these, tell them that this audit is okay for the improvements in the company, for the health of the organization, to find there are any gaps or non-compliance. This story you should learn. Okay, those who are very talkative, I know like some people are very talkative, can what you call articulate this. Okay, this also I'll cover. So these are 8 important things. Hope you'll remember, because you are going to become internal auditor, right? But for God's sake, remember this document. SO 19011, I am not given full name, but it is guidance document on auditing management system. Don't need to remember all that stuff. Just remember this 19001 2018 edition. And the clause that comes in internal audit, somebody says 8.2.4 or 2. Okay, these are the competency levels. I will take another, because you joined late, I'm taking another 10-15 minutes. We have joined on time, or close at 8:30. We have basic levels, understand concept but require supervision. You are not at basic level. I'm ruling it out. Okay, because you understand the concepts, but you don't require a supervision. It's not like I should be behind you to do an internal audit. You should, because I'll be sharing a lot of documents. You understand 13485. I'm going to share checklists like what questions you will ask or how you need to, visualize the audit. Okay, it's not like you look only at the documents. You roam around, you look at the systems, the operating systems, labels, equipment, like the cleanliness for work environment, cleanliness. And I'm telling you, you can identify whether for that day only they have made the system like a film city, or is it a permanent system. Okay, I know like many companies, for a 1-2 days audit, they totally change it. I mean, you change it, make it such a beautiful like. But on the third day, when the audit is over, everything will be back to like a fish market. Okay, so you are not in basic level. Working knowledge you have. You can perform talks with some guidance. Okay, but I want you at this level competent, independently perform audits effectively because you have understanding on concepts. You need to perform tasks. Okay, concepts in the sense I am talking about 1, 3, 4, 8, 5. You understand the concepts. You know what are the tasks. You know what to look for the NCs. Okay, that's the reason I shared a lot of list of NCs for you to make you understand. But I know you are quite busy. You have not gone through that NCs or understood them. But at least on Sunday, spare 2-3 hours. So Sunday evening we'll have the exam. But Sunday evening you need to attend. At what time should we have? Madhu? Arulmati? Maji? 8 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fine.
No issue.
Yeah, it
So,
will be.
yeah, 8 to 8:30 we'll have. But you have to come online and you have to, I mean, open your cameras and it has to be recorded because I mean, see, this is one, I mean, there are a few mandatory things when we are giving internal audits. One good thing I have done is I have taken training more than 24 hours. Basically, internal audit training is 24 hours. That said, 3 days into 8 hours. But in between 8 hours also there will be coffee, lunch, tea. Because I have taken internal audit training for IMTZ, that batch. I think Pranita knows it. Pranita. Name is Pranita. Yeah, recently only I have taken. But good thing is we covered more than 40 hours. We have navigated everywhere. The concepts we have moved into practical approaches. We had some issues of your company discussions. Okay, like with lot of people like discussed about the issues with their company, and we had like almost 40 hours. And the good thing is it is recorded. Okay, I have it recorded in my G drive. I also shared it in Zoom. I also shared it in what is that, YouTube. Okay, that YouTube is not my channel, my son's channel. Okay. So you are competent, you can do independently the audit, you know how to do, you have the knowledge, you can perform it. So advanced and lead auditor. Okay. Here what happens is the lead audit, he has a team, like 3-4 members team will come. Okay. Who are also lead auditors. I mean, maybe lead auditors are experts in some of the subjects, like in microbiology, there will be some some experts in clinical and PMS, some experts mainly in the production and clean rooms. But there will be one guy called lead auditor who will be managing all that. Okay, and he has the authority, okay, to train internal auditors or train the lead auditors and give them certification, okay, under some organization or company, like what I'm doing. I'm a lead auditor. I can train and certify internal auditor. I can train and certify lead auditor. Okay, but lead auditor training will be it will be a bit long, like 5 days, 6 days, and the exam pattern will be very different. It will be more real world play scenarios, or more like what we call evidence based images. They'll show an image and we need to identify it and see. It's not like MCQs or objective type. It will be a bit difficult. Of course, I mean, there will be a lot of training that happens. I had training with BSA, really very tough. I mean, not the lead auditor training. BSA, that lady is very tough. I know her name. But after she became a good friend of me. After the exam.
Sorry, sir. Sorry for interference. If it is not an objective, what kind of question it would be, sir?
No, it could be an case scenario. Like, suppose case scenario means, say, see, in lot of the NCs, what I have provided, there are cases like you have, say, there is a supplier who gets the raw material, okay, and in the raw material, they have a supplier agreement. Okay, in the supplier agreement, they have not provided, okay, the specifications of the raw material. Or it could be something like they have not provided the QMS changes that happens in the supplier facility. And suddenly there is something which goes wrong with the raw material. Okay, then you need to raise an NC. How you will raise the NC? See, one is you have not provided the technical specifications of the supplier to the supplier. Whatever is giving, you are taking based on his QC report or his what you call COA, certificate of analysis you are taking, but you are not testing it. See, this NC comes under which clause? It comes under supplier. It is, I think, 7.4.2 somewhere. In supplier evaluation, supplier verification is supplier verification and the raw material verification is important. First thing. The second thing is in the documentation, okay, what we call supplier agreement, you have not provided, okay, couple of things like the technical specifications of your device or the raw material, or you have not provided that any update in the supplier QMS or the change in the process or their change in the material or change in the management has to be updated to the organization. The organization has to be updated if any changes happens in the supplier. This clause you have not included. Then where the NC comes? This absolutely comes under control of documentation. See, you don't have supplier control. Either it may come under 7.4.3, there will be one supplier control will be there. And control of documentation 4.2.4. You can draw as many clauses as possible which are closely linked to it. Okay, I told you supplier control is very important. Supplier agreement is important. Verification or testing of the raw material is important before you accept the material. Okay, it has to be in quarantine before you test and accept the material, then only it will move into the raw material stores. Okay, and there is some blunder mistakes in this supplier agreement. Okay. Suppose, I mean, you tell me the department, I'll tell you about the NCC. Of course, Arul, don't worry. I'm going to share with you today, late night, the list of NCs, I mean, checklist, what we call checklist of internal audit checklist. In the internal audit checklist, what are the things which you need to do? I mean, that are minimum things which you need to audit. And if you want to audit extra, you can do it. Okay, that I'm going to give clause wise, subclause wise, I'm going to share it. Okay, and I'm going to share share it department wise also. Okay, for maintenance, R&D, what questions you'll ask, how you will note it. There could be something like 8 or 9 departments wise checklists are there with me, internal auditor checklist. And for 8 clause, okay, separate checklist. It's almost like 43 pages for clause wise checklist and some 25 pages for department wise checklist. So that I'll share. Once you scan through this, go through this checklist, no, you will easily understand more the clause than the ANSYS. Because I gave it clause for it.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry much, Sam. If you need any help, you can, I said very categorically, it will be open exam. Okay. Open exam in the sense, I know you are not sitting this side, but don't, I mean, text like what are the answers on your WhatsApp to others. No, it's you are all grown up. I know you don't do all this cheap and stupid things, but you can refer to 13485. I gave you. I think I shared you a handout. No.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that handout document you can refer because it gives a very good summary of what is 13485. Suppose if you look at the original standard of 13485, you can't trace what is located where. You will waste time. So better to look at the handout document if you want to quickly trace and address it. But don't keep it beside your laptop. You can keep it in your system and refer it required. Okay. So this is lead auditor. Maybe I hope like lead auditor is very difficult. You need to make a lot of complex judgments, interlinking, and sometimes you need to be very strict with the management. And I have seen very few people who have given NCs potential or serious potential major NCs that has to close the company. I mean, the company production has to be closed. Okay. I mean, I have found a lot of incidences like that. The production was there, but the marketing stopped. Some production stopped. Some microbiology lab was totally stopped. So one ATO sterilizer was ETO sterilization because it has some problem with leakage or okay. So tomorrow also I'll discuss tomorrow 2 hours and Sunday 8 o'clock we will have the exam 8 to 8:30. Okay, don't worry much. If you need any explanation on the question, you can call me and ask. Okay, I'll explain you as if I have okay, peel the banana and kept in your mouth. Or I'll bloom it like a sunflower on a dawn or a dusk time. Okay. So these are some of the understanding 13485 knowledge, 901 understanding, yes. This I'll be talking in next session. What this means, it's more general, guys, not so particular that it's like how we need to prepare for the audit. The audit is something, again, I am telling, audit is not that you are entering into something where you definitely need to find faults. It's not a fault finding procedure. Okay, please remember this. Don't go to the internal audits with a mindset that, okay, I should find some NCs any day. I mean, today I need to find some major, some minor. Don't go anything fixed in your brain. Go cool, calm, Okay, free, just discuss, move around. Okay, and ask some simple questions like what is the scope? You can talk with them in their regional language. Simple questions, simple but very effective questions. Like say, scope is one generally everybody asks. Some will ask what are your quality objectives. Okay. Some ask what are the trainings you have taken. Again, depends on the department. So simple question, but it will be very important question, very tricky. Okay. Some can't answer. And that is so these are some of things this I'll tell. This we will cover later. Okay, after we complete internal auditing. After completing internal auditor training, I'll go with MDSA. Then I'll go with ISO 14971. Then later I'll go with ISO 10993. So after completing this, now 14971, 10993, and 62304 IEC. Okay. Then after completing this, understanding the standards, then if we enter into the country specific regulations, you will have, you can digest it better. You'll have a good appetite and you feel hungry that, okay, this is very important. And so before telling about 14971 or 13485 or 10993 or 62 IEC 62304 and some other standard, if we jump directly into MDR or 510K or IMDR, there will be, you don't feel connected or you don't feel linked. That's the reason I want to complete the standards, then jump into country specific regulations. Of course, I'll be starting with, I told IMDR I won't be taking. I'll be taking MDR 510K and other country specific like SFDA, TGA, or other 8 countries. But I'll make it very simple. It's not every country, there's no need to discuss elaborately because once you understand UMDR documentation, it's almost like you have understood 80%. Okay, in some countries, it's almost like 90% of the documentation you have understood or done. So there will be some 10, 20% or 25% gap only that we need to discuss. So we'll discuss MDR, EUMDR elaborately, like how we are done for 13485. And the other things after discussing the standards, we'll take the MDR. Okay, once we understand the MDR, then there will be only gap analysis which we need to done with country specific regulation. Okay, mostly it will be the same. Few changes like I said, for MDSAP also, it looks similar to 13485. Okay, MDSAP, it's similar. Most of them look like ISO 13485. There will be some 20 to 25% gap analysis between the countries that we need to fulfill. So it becomes easy. That's what I mean to say global quality file or global management system. Okay, global quality management system. Similarly, like the regulatory files also. Of course, 510K is something different. FDA 510K is very different. It's purely based on, 510K also you have a lot of things like 4, 5 510Ks which you can do. Okay, traditional abbreviated, special, de novo, special controls, all that. And there is another PMA, which is a bit difficult, but if you understand MDR, PMA also will become easy. PMA is post-marketing approval. 510K is pre-market notification. So once you understand these two, Health Canada similarly, they follow Health Canada follows FDA. Okay, and lot of West Asian countries like UAE, Saudi, okay, other countries like, I mean, earlier I done some documentation for Iran also. Okay, have the same documentation like QMDR. And the LATAM countries also have same documentation, but there is 10-15% gap. If you come to the south, I mean, to India Pacific or Asia Pacific, okay, it will be almost same. Actually, their documentation will be much better than our IMDR documentation. Okay, if you go to Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, okay, and Eurasia, Russia, Kazakhstan, not Ukraine. There are some countries in Eurasia, it will have same documentation. Asia Pacific is one area, similar documentation. LATAM countries, one documentation. LATAM means Latin American, they have their system, including Brazil. I mean. Then UMDR, you know. Then Australia, Japan, that we are okay. Then what is that which we are missing? West Asia. West Asia, there are only wars, no devices. Israel, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, all are in wars only. Only Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey are doing well in medical areas. So that's the overall global picture. So don't worry much. I mean, I'll make it very comprehensive, make you to understand it. See, how you structure your learning is also very important. It's not like you'll keep reading every day everything that is there in the internet. Okay, with a click of mouse, you'll get everything. Don't keep reading. You structure what you need to study. Okay. And this is very important. What is important and what you need to study. Just because you have a lot of material, lot of standards and tons of tons material that are shared, people share in internet, in LinkedIn and all other regulatory sites. Okay. If they are very important, just go through the abstract. It really feels that it is related to your domain, very important. You can read it. But you have to structure like this is area which I am going to focus more. Okay. See, too much of reading also causes a lot of confusion. Whatever little you read, you should have clarity. This is my, I mean, basically I do this. Whatever I read, I'll have clarity by the time I see. Okay. Without clarity, if you sleep, I think I told to somebody, Akanksha or for the modesty or somebody, if you don't have clarity and you sleep, now it will create a lot of stress in your body. Okay, this we'll discuss today, some of them, and later I'll tell you, of course, I told you how to grade NCs. But next two classes, next 2 hours, I can complete, and this is very general, you can understand. That's not just so scientific or rocket science. And it's not so mercurial, like it will slip away. Interesting, like when you're doing, actually when you do the real audit, you'll enjoy it most than reading it. So after the internal auditor training, like Aman or I think Vaibhav, they have internal auditors. Sorry, they have internal auditing, so go ahead with the internal. Okay, guys. So these are few of the things. Actually, I opened a lot of things to discuss, but I covered maximum of the things without sharing with you. I mean, that's what is my worst habit, that without sharing the document or showing it to you, I'll discuss all other things before. I need to change it. Next time I'll share the document and discuss, because whatever I have discussed are the documents which I opened and kept. Okay, like 6 documents. But tomorrow, I mean, we can move fast because I already touched on some of the topics. Okay. Any doubts? Yeah, this week has been so hectic. Like I was traveling north, east, west, south. but I found one thing. It's very fantastic. And one thing I've also found is all Indians are same, are of same mindset. Mainly the middle class, like me. Okay, so you also keep traveling. Any doubts, or shall we close today?
Sir, can you just hint a little what kind of questions will be asked in the examination?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll share. Yeah, today I'm very tired. Today I'll do some work.
Okay, sir.
Actually, evening only I came from SL from Ramchi, Raipur. I went to Bangalore. It's a one stop. Then I came to direct to it's say device. Okay. Yeah, of course I'll share tomorrow. Don't worry about that.
Sir, any deadlines for choosing the topic for publication?
You can choose anytime,
Okay.
but choose it before we complete at least some of the regulatory aspects on UMDR and see, we are closing on the standards now. Okay, 14971, then 10993, then IEC documents, something linked to softwares. Okay, software life cycle and validations. By that time, then we'll move to UMDR, then to 510K. By that time, if you are good enough to select the topic, then later
I
we'll go.
chose one, but if class progresses, if I got anything interested in, I can choose another. That's why I'm asking.
No, I already told to you that if you find any topic of your interest that could help you and gain you knowledge or your organization, you can select that. It's not a standard, or I have not drawn a red line that you should take any of these 5 or 10 or 20. But we need to make it bit novel, like adopt new systems, write it pragmatically, what we call it as a meta-analysis. Okay, so that it should be fit for publication.
Okay, sir.
And publication in very good journal.
Okay, sir.
Okay, not in ordinary journals. So I will do it. I mean, publication part you leave it to me. I'll tell you how to do math. Since last 10 years I am doing all these publications and patents, and I'm tired of doing that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, take care, guys. See you tomorrow 6:30. I request to join soon so that we can complete. The part linked to internal auditor training. Then Sunday we'll have the exam. So that I'll feel good once 1348 is closed. Like we have achieved something. Okay, not everything. Some peanuts like. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Bye. Take care.
Take
Okay.
care, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Bye.